This is Kugan, CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with McIntyre Marbella. We're at the weigh-in for Unbreakable. Kelbrook versus Jojo Dan. Excuse the
background noise.
Background noise, absolutely. Adam, major coup for Sky that you've managed to secure the UK rights for Mayweather Pacquiao. A lot of work must have gone behind the scenes to get this. We know you and Johnny were out there, press conference time. So how much hard work was it to get that?
It was a great deal of hard work. I mean, it really was over a course of weeks, but we are absolutely thrilled, over the moon, as you can imagine, that we have landed the rights for Mayweather Pacquiao. It's such a huge event, not just for boxing fans, but for sport in general. And I think that, you know, along with all the other great nights we have on Sky, not, as I said, not just in boxing, but the likes of, you know, the Masters, the Ryder Cup in golf, you know, the Ashes in cricket, all the football nights. You know, someone like Mayweather Pacquiao, I think, fits beautifully on Sky, and I'm really, really pleased that we managed to get it over the line. It was tough. It was a really tough negotiations and a battle, really, but we got there, and it's brilliant. 5 weeks. Tomorrow, and we're delighted, and we hope that everybody is pleased that we'll be you know, out there and delivering, hopefully, you know, the best programming we can be. We'll be all over it with Sky Sports News and the website and everything, giving the viewer and the fans the best possible experience, you know, because of course it's such a difficult fight for fans to get into and all that. So we just want to give the event some sparkle and razzmatazz and bring it to people's screens, you know, all week on Sky Sports and then on the night on Sky Sports box office. So we are really, really excited as a team. They're buzzing at the moment, the boys and the girls.
You talk about the battle. It was no secret that there were other bidders, UK broadcasters that were, you know, sort of competing with you. But sure. Were you ever concerned at all that you possibly wouldn't get this?
I think you've got to be concerned, haven't you? I mean, it's such a prized possession, something like Mayweather Pacquiao, that there's no guarantees at all. So that's why, you know, it was a long and difficult process of negotiation. But, you know, I went out there, I spoke to the likes of the Mayweather camp and Pacquiao camp, and, you know, and they like Sky, obviously. They like the fact that we've got a Sky Sports News channel, that we've got a way of promoting an event like that, that we are, you know, we've got a huge reach now, that we are technically, you know, an organised and efficient output, and I think that helped a great deal. Floyd Mayweather's got a lot of British fight fans, and I think that he, you know, he remembered the days of Ricky Hatton and when he came over here, and I think so that maybe it was good for him that it ended up on Sky, and I hope so with the Pacquiao camp. You know, we spent time with Manny a few weeks ago. We did a ringside special. You know, we love what we do, Kugan, as you know, and maybe that helped a little bit. But I'm sure it came down to money. I'm sure it came down to, you know, sort of higher people than myself. But, you know, ultimately we got the deal done, and on we go. It's fantastic news.
Obviously it's a bit irrelevant now, but in hindsight, how damaging would that have been to the Sky Sports boxing team not to have got this fight? What, you know?
I think we would have all been very deflated, wouldn't we? I mean, let's be honest about it. You know, we're in this because we want to be around the big events, the big fights, and the little fights. We want to be, you know, we want to be producing the best boxing we can possibly on Sky. You know, there's a whole arsenal. There's football, there's cricket, there's rugby, there's golf, there's the darts and tennis. There's so many things. We play our own part, and obviously on box office nights, you know, there's a bit more attention on us as a sport. And I think it would have been very upsetting if we hadn't have got Mayweather Pacquiao. You know, you can't have everything, but, you know, that this was one that, you know, we've been following Floyd Mayweather since very, very early days. You know, I remember talking to him after 4 or 5 fights about him fighting Nassim Hamed, for example, and Manny Pacquiao, you know, really since when he launched his career in the States, you know, around the time when Lennox Lewis was thriving and Pacquiao was on those sort of bills. And so we've known them both a long, long time, and the fight has obviously been talked about for 5, 6 years. It's finally come to fruition, and I think we would have been, you know, very, very, very upset if we hadn't got the fight. But we have. It's great news, and bring it on.
And also sensibly priced as well, $19.99. So. Absolutely, considering what the Americans are going to have to pay for in their own country.
I think you're absolutely right. You know, under £20, you know, is, if you get it before the night. I think that's really, really important, because in America we know that it's going to go, 90 or $100, and that's you know, that's a lot of money for people, and I think that to keep it sensible is important. But it's one of these fights, I think, that people are going to just want to see. They want to be there. They want to say, you know, I was in whatever place, but they're not in the arena or they're not in Vegas, and they're watching back home. They want to remember that moment. You know, I remember when I was a 13-year-old kid where I was when my hero Tommy Hearns was knocked out by Marvin Hagler. You know, I remember exactly where I was when Barry McGuigan, my other hero, beat Eusebio Pedrosa at QPR. I was there, and I watched Hagler Hearns on television, and I was there for Barry McGuigan at QPR, and I will never forget those moments. And I think Mayweather Pacquiao is one of those sort of fights that people of this sort of generation, younger, even older, are going to remember where they were when they saw that, when they saw the two guys, the two iconic fighters of these times, actually meet each other when it seemed like it wasn't going to happen. So I think you know, people are going to tune in. They're going to want to watch it, and I think it's at a good price. And for those who can't get out to Vegas, with the price of the flights and the fact that there won't be a ticket, it'll be so tough to get into the arena or even to see it on, you know, the big screens around Vegas with the accommodation that week. I think we want to give as best experience as we can possibly on Sky Sports all week and on Sky Sports box office on the night. And I hope that it's good enough value and that people want to watch it, because I certainly would if I wasn't going.
Absolutely. Adam, do you think that in time that Sky would ever consider having their own boxing channel? Has that ever been talked about?
I think...
is there a market for it?
I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, BoxNation have tried something. Frank Warren tried something which was very ambitious, and I think at the time, you know, we thought, well, I wonder if this could work. It'd be brilliant to have a boxing channel. You know, you got Boxing News, you got Boxing Monthly, a boxing channel, fantastic. The more fights on for all of us fans, the better. But I think it's different. You know, we're a sports broadcaster. Sky is obviously much bigger than just Sky Sports. There's a lot of different arms to it. But within Sky Sports, you know, football primarily is the sport. You know, just watch an hour of Sky Sports News and you see how many football stories there are compared to others. And I think when boxing's big, like a Mayweather Pacquiao or a Froch Groves or a, you know, Lewis Holyfield or Lewis Tyson, they're really big nights. I think that's when it can almost hit the heights of the football, not far off. But I think on a sort of day-to-day basis, we've got to be realistic. You know, we're in the pack, aren't we? We're along with the tennis and the golf and the darts and the rugby, and so I think we're a good offering. So at the moment, I think we're in a great place. You know, Eddie's shows are thriving. You know, there's more people turning up to the arenas, bigger fields to fight. You know, and better talent coming through as well. You know, the likes of, you know, your Luke Campbells, Anthony Joshua's, you know, Callum Smith, so much coming through in Britain as well. So I think that boxing's in a great place, as good as it's been on Sky, but we've kept going for, you know, a long time. You know, I started in 1994. Boxing was already thriving. My first event was the Eubank World Tour against Maurizio Amaral, #1 there in 1994. Even before me, we've kept through and we've kept with our loyalty to boxing all the way through, and I think that shows our commitment to the sport. Could we have a channel? I don't know. That's probably not in planning at the moment, but you don't know. The bigger it gets, the bigger boxing gets, the more chance of anything like that happening. As far as we're concerned at the moment, BoxNation are doing their bit. They're putting a lot of fights on. Great for the sport. We continue to do what we do on Sky, and we're part of a big arsenal, a big mix of sports, which I think gives the viewer a lot of satisfaction in many different ways.
I remember talking to you around this time last year. Obviously, we were gearing up for Froch Groves 2, and also Eddie Hearn, and there was this fear of Froch Groves 2 being that sort of setting that precedent and that high standard of everything, of, you know, of worldwide appeal, you know, UK appeal, the gate, just the whole shabazz with Froch Groves 2, and could it be topped? Can you see it looking on like nearly a year on now? Where's it coming from? Because, you know, we were kind of spoilt with that last year, that whole Froch Groves thing, and it sort of brought the attention to the wider public. Where do we see it again?
It was a very, very special night, wasn't it, at Wembley Stadium, and you just can't have those every day, every week, every month. It was a real special. It was just the way that it blended, you know, after the first fight, which was so fantastic, the controversial ending, the bitterness between the two. It was just made, and I was surprised at how quickly, I knew it would sell well, but I was surprised about how quickly Wembley Stadium sold, and the fact that everybody wanted to be part of the narrative. And it was simple, you know, is it Froch or is it Groves? And no one knew who was going to win, not even the fighters, I can guarantee you that. And they weren't convinced before they got in that ring. I mean, Carl would disagree with me, but I think that they were genuinely worried themselves, because it was a 50-50 fight. After it, the night was incredible. I think the days and weeks afterwards, you know, took us right back down. I think there was a real sort of sense of, oh, blimey, you know, what now? You know, what now? And you know, Eddie was flat, I was flat, and you know, we've been up to that sort of, and now with boxing, you know, we get it again. We get it with Mayweather Pacquiao. Now we start all over, we build that up, and it will reach a crescendo, and then I'm sure in the days afterwards it will be a deflate. But that's how boxing goes. It's, you know, it's a cyclical sport. You know, they don't have big fights every single, you know, 5 minutes, but when they do, they become big, and they're talked about. So I have no doubt that we can get to that scale again. The question is when. I mean, I'd like to see a big open-air event every year. I think it's a sort of, I think annual things are good. You know, everyone gets ready for, you know, something like the test matches in England in the summer. Everyone gets ready for Wimbledon. Everyone gets ready for, I don't know, the FA Cup final, the Champions League final, the last day of the Premiership. You know, annually, are pretty good things to have. And I think if Froch Groves was May, you know, this time, maybe this summer, we could do another thing. Brooke Khan would have been wonderful, wouldn't it? Say,
is that the fight that really could match the heights?
I think so. I think I'd like to see Kell Brook and Amir Khan. It's difficult to make it because of a lot of issues, and Amir wants to stay in America, and there's the Ramadan as well that he's got. You know, so I think that it's difficult to make it probably for the next few months, but I'm sure that's a fight that will happen. But I think if we sort of aim maybe once a year to sort of do something on that sort of scale, maybe not Wembley, maybe another outdoor stadium. You know, Kell could fight at Bramall Lane, you know, against someone like Juan Manuel Marquez if he gets through this weekend. Something like that. You know, if there's a big event every summer, I think that would be really good. But it will happen. You know, there's plenty of talent around in Britain and America. It's just a case of when. I mean, you know, Anthony Joshua, surely at some point he's going to sell out Wembley if he keeps going the way he is, if he keeps winning. You know, the likes of Tyson Fury and David Haye possibly out of retirement, or Deontay Wilder. I mean, no doubt the heavyweights can sell out Wembley if you've got someone like Joshua involved. You know, so I think there's plenty to look forward to. I'm sure we'll have big nights like that again. And Mayweather Pacquiao is going to be the biggest night of this year.
Okay, well listen, Kell Brook's got a job to do tomorrow night against Jojo Dan before talk of any other, obviously, potential big fight this summer. So let's hope he can get the job done, and should be a cracking night in Sheffield. I
think it'll be a fantastic night. I love coming to Sheffield. I spent half my life up here in the late 90s with Nassim Hamid and Ryan Rhodes and Johnny, obviously. It's a brilliant city for boxing. It's got so much history. I know that Naz and Ryan and Johnny themselves and Harold Graham all actually boxed in the Cutler's Hall here where the weigh-in is. It's steeped in heritage, isn't it? I think Kell Brook's got a very, very important night. He should beat Jojo down on paper, of course he should. But, you know, he's coming back from a lot of time out. He's coming back from the stabbing incident. He's coming back from the high of that world title win. Now the hard work begins. He's got to defend his crown, and he's got to defend it because look what's out there. Not just Mayweather Pacquiao, not just Khan. You've got the likes of Juan Manuel Marquez. You've got the likes of Keith Thurman. Big welterweight division. A lot of names out there. A lot of money to be made for Kell. A lot of great nights ahead. Can't get this wrong on Saturday, and I don't think he will.
Let's hope not. All right. Is Naz coming, do you know?
I had a text from Naz 3 or 4 days ago to say it'd be great to catch up soon. He didn't mention he was coming. I did say that I was back in Sheffield and there was a real buzz around the city, and you know, who knows? Maybe he'll turn up. I'd love to see him if he does.
I think he has turned up at the last couple of Kell Brook fights, hasn't he?
He likes Kell. He likes Kell. I think he's if he's around, if he's in England, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a sort of last-minute dash up to ringside because he's always liked Kell. You know, he's seen him grow, and you know, and I think there's a lot of similarities in many ways. He's not quite the showman, is he, that Naz was, and you know, may not have quite the raw power, but there's a lot of similarities. You know, they were both came from the same Brendan Ingalls sweatshop on Winkerbank Hill, you know, and I'd love to see Naz, and because of course he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer, so it'd be great to see him back at ringside, wouldn't it? Definitely.
All right, Adam Smith, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and everyone's back to weigh in now, and then tomorrow night it's all of the lights, as Kell likes to say.
All of the lights. We look forward to it. Should be good.
Thank you very much.